May 6, 1942, the surrender of Corregidor. You are there.
Morning Ground reporting May 6, 1942. The war in the Philippines has been going badly for the Allies. A month ago, all organized resistance on the main island of Luzon ended with the fall of Bataan. This victory gave the Japanese control of the mainland, but it did not give them control of Manila Bay. Corregidor and its sister forts still hold the entrance to that bay. General Hama, commanding 250,000 Japanese troops, has promised to crush the island's defenses and exterminate its defenders. Opposing him on Corregidor are 11,000 American and Filipino troops, commanded by Lieutenant General Jonathan M. Wainwright. The last 27 days, the battle has become crucial. The collapse of Corregidor may be imminent. The campaign for the Philippine Islands is not over. Though the Japanese have won the decisive Battle of Bataan, they still have to take the tadpole-shaped fortress of Corregidor and the other islands south of Luzon. The rock has been under attack since December 29, 1941. It was one of the first military objectives in the Japanese plan. The day before yesterday, Corregidor suffered 13 separate air attacks. Between 7 o'clock and noon of that day, General Hama's batteries dropped 500-pound shells on Corregidor every 5 seconds, 12 shells a minute. Enough shells to fill 600 trucks. According to the latest reports, the beach defenses are pulverized and the assault barriers wrecked. The concrete machine gun nests and fire control instruments destroyed. 46 of the 48 beach guns on Corregidor are knocked out of action. The food and water supply is dangerously low. The hospital is jammed with 1,000 wounded and dying soldiers. Early today, President Roosevelt sent a message to General Wainwright commending him and his men for their stand on Corregidor, but asking no finer example of tenacity, resourcefulness, and courage. This message in view of the fact that the haggard and tired defenders now face a new crisis. Last night, Japanese troops landed in force on the north point of Corregidor. The free world today wonders how long General Wainwright and his men can hold out. All things are as they were then, except you are there.
This is Todd Hunter. I'm inside Melinda Tunnel. The floor system is no longer operating. The air is close and the heat almost unbearable. Dust, dirt, vermin, and dampness are something all these men have to fight besides the Japanese. Oh, here comes the colonel. Perhaps I can talk to him. Colonel, sir. Colonel, may I have... Well, the colonel's busy. Keep trying to get some information. The men you see are heading for the hospital, which is a few feet away. Casualties have been extremely heavy. Many of the wounded men are still in the line. There are no litter bearers to carry them back. Few of the walking wounded are able to turn in for treatment. The tunnel system of Corregidor is located just about the center of the island. The main tunnel where we're standing now is 750 feet long, running east and west. And off this tunnel are a number of lateral tunnels, such as the one directly in front of us. The main portion of these are being used for hospital purposes. And above us, the ceiling is 100 feet thick, concrete block. Vegetation, there was another close hit. That's why Corregidor has been able to take this fearful beating and still operate. Oh, Lieutenant. Lieutenant, sir. Lieutenant?
Yeah.
Wonder if I could get your name, Lieutenant?
McCall. Why?
Why, we're trying to get an idea of exactly how things stand at the moment.
Who are we?
Well, I'm a reporter, Lieutenant.
Oh. I don't know what I hate the worst, these flies or out there. How do things stand at the moment? They stand pretty bad at the moment.
Where's the battle line now?
About 5 minutes ago when this happened, it was about a half mile from the entrance. They've infiltrated the left side of our line.
Lieutenant, are we going to get reinforcements?
Well, no, we haven't got any reinforcements. We used them all at 8 o'clock this morning. Had about 60 men, the Coast Artillery. We got about 300 yards out and we're bogged down. I thought we were going to hold them last night. We had about, I guess, 50-50 chance. We did. We pushed them all the way back to the water. I think we'd still be pushing them if they hadn't brought those tanks in.
Tanks? How many tanks?
Well, they brought in 3 at first. They're loading more out there now. I don't know how many.
Tanks are a decisive factor, Lieutenant?
Decisive factor? Their tanks are just the whole difference, that's all. Can't you see just one of those little ugly babies coming up out here to the entrance or over to the hospital?
opening up.
Well, can't the Japanese tanks be stopped?
How's that?
I say, can't they be stopped? Can't you stop them?
Well, yeah, they can be stopped, sure, but they can't be stopped with the weapons we've got. There's another thing, too. We can't stay in here and fight them. We got to go out there and fight them. We go out there, they got those lousy tanks.
Is there a possibility that General MacArthur will be able to relieve the situation here?
I think if the general could have helped us, he would have helped us a long time ago.
Well, do you think the Japanese will enter the tunnel?
I beg your pardon?
I say, do you think the Japanese will come in here?
Well, yeah, the way things are going now, I think they'll come in here. I give them about 2 hours the way they're going now.
What will happen then, Lieutenant?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't smoke in here anyhow. What was that?
I say, what will happen then?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, is
no
there any possibility of evacuating Corregidor?
No, there's no possibility of getting out of here, if that's what you mean. We had a submarine here a few days ago, and a plane before that. They took a few civilians and some officers and nurses, and that was the end of that.
How many nurses are still on Corregidor?
How many?
Yeah.
Oh, I'd say about 150. I guess, I don't know. I know that General Wainwright's pretty worried about them. A lot of them had a chance to get out of here, and they wouldn't go, and he's pretty worried about them, I know that.
Well, we understand that General Wainwright has already taken certain steps in the event Corregidor is not able to hold out. Do you know if that's true or not?
Oh, I know that, I know he's ordered secret papers, maps, code books, all that sort of thing destroyed.
Well, have you heard anything about the Philippine Treasury?
Philippine Treasury?
Yeah, all that money.
Well, yeah, I know that Wainwright's been in charge of it ever since he's been down here, at least ever since he's been in command, and we destroyed over $440 million. $140 million in currency and had over $1 million in silver. We put it in the bay or someplace.
That's the place.
Thank you. Sorry. There's your answer, reporter. This is execute Pontiac. This is an order to destroy all naval equipment and all military stores and all our ships and everything. That's your answer.
We switch you now to General Wainwright's headquarters.
Order, here.
Bill Stout reporting. The man seated at the back of the room is Lieutenant General Jonathan M. Wainwright. The officer just leaving is Major General George Moore. A few days ago, General Wainwright was wounded. A Japanese shell exploded near where he was standing and burst his left eardrum. His hearing is completely gone in that ear, and it's believed that his right ear was also affected. The other officer is Brigadier General Louis C. Beebe. General Beebe, sir. General Beebe.
The general has to get to the radio station.
To make an announcement of some sort?
Couldn't say, mister. I don't know.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Perhaps we'll be able to speak to General Wainwright himself. I might mention that the radio station here on Corregidor was named by General MacArthur the Voice of Freedom. It has been in continuous operation during the entire siege. General Wainwright.
Yes?
Would you care to make a statement, General?
I'm sure to hear the news on the radio very shortly.
Sir, if you could make a statement.
We can't hold out very much longer. Maybe we might last through the day, but the end must certainly come tonight, and it's better to clear up the situation now, Taylor.
Then it has been decided to surrender.
Yes.
Has General Hama been contacted, sir?
Not yet, but we hope to do that very shortly.
May I ask how you expect to contact him?
By radio, if possible.
What will be the terms of the surrender?
I don't anticipate I'll have a great deal to say about the surrender terms when I meet the Japanese commander. I shall try to surrender as few men as possible.
Do you mean, sir, just the men on Corregidor?
I'd rather not answer that question now.
Sir, have the men been notified of this decision?
They'll learn of it very shortly. Too much has been asked of them already. There's a limit to human endurance, and that limit has long since been passed here. There's no hope of relief, no chance of holding out. And I feel it my duty to the nation and to my troops here to end this useless slaughter as quickly as possible. for other comrades in arms to victory elsewhere. That's all.
But, General,
Please, I don't think he's had any sleep for 2 or 3 days.
we now switch you back to another area in the Linda Tunnel.
The following is our surrender offer now being made to the Japs over the radio. The following message is for General Hama, by the present Commander-in-Chief of the Imperial Japanese Forces on Luzon. For military reasons which General Wainwright considers sufficient to put a stop to the further sacrifice of life, the commanding general will surrender to Your Excellency today the fortified islands at the entrance to Manila Bay, together with all military and naval personnel and all existing stores and equipment. At 12 noon local daylight saving time, May 6, 1942, a white flag will be displayed in prominent position on Corregidor, at which time all firing from the harbor forts will cease, unless a landing by Japanese troops is attempted without flags of truce, in which case they will be taken under fire. That's about it. I just want you to know that in case you're getting through to anybody, that none of us are ashamed here. None of us are ashamed at all. Indeed, you're not. We're switching now to Grant Holcomb, who's been covering events outside the north entrance to the main tunnel. Come in, Grant Holcomb.
This is Grant Holcomb. The men on this island have reached the end of their physical and mental resources. They're dirty, hungry, completely exhausted. Some reacted violently to the surrender news, but most of them were just too tired to have any feeling at all. A few minutes ago, the quartermaster lateral was thrown open and each man was allowed to take what he wanted in the way of food.
I wish I'd get there. Hey, the Japs don't talk United States. Well, some of them are too. Besides, they've been broadcasting in both languages all morning long.
Maybe they ain't got no radios.
The white flag's up. They hoisted it a long time ago.
It's Sarge. I just got a real bad feeling. Maybe they heard them broadcast. Maybe they saw the white flag. They ain't gonna do nothing about it.
I can never figure those people out anyhow. We surrendered. We told them every way we know how. We blew up every big gun we got left. Even some of the small arms. Some Marines had the order wrong and they rolled all their rifles and pistols. They keep this up. They can come in here and kill every one of us and there wouldn't be much we could do about it. One thing, whatever happens, it's going to happen on a full stomach.
Why don't they stop? Why don't they stop? We gave up! Why don't they stop?
Sergeant.
Yeah?
Any further orders other than destruction of equipment?
Maintain discipline. Best way I can see is to see that they get a good meal. They earned it, every one of them.
You have any idea what will come?
Yeah, I got an idea. Let's let it go for now.
You mean you feel the Japanese intend to annihilate them?
Well, stop firing, they'll stop sooner or later. Every man on this island has fought and earned himself the right to live and be treated like a man. I hope they know that.
We take you now to Bataan.
This is Hollow Wilcox on Bataan. General Wainwright and his group came to Bataan more than an hour ago.
They were brought here from Corregidor by Colonel Nakayama, Senior Operations Officer for General Homa. They are waiting for the appearance of General Homa to discuss the surrender. General Homa has not yet issued any orders for his batteries to cease firing. General Wainwright and his staff were ordered to pose for benefit of the Japanese press. It is our understanding that General Wainwright discussed surrender with Colonel Nakayama on Corregidor, and that discussion was unsatisfactory. General Wainwright, stop. Do you speak English? Yes. We're trying to find out when General Homa is due to arrive.
When he gets here.
Is General Homa aware that General Wainwright has been here almost 2 hours waiting for him? Is General Homa prepared to accept General Wainwright's surrender?
General Homa is prepared to accept the surrender of all forces in the Philippines. Nothing less.
You are referring to the fortified islands?
I refer to the forces on Mindanao and Visayan Island.
It's my understanding that General Wainwright no longer commands those areas.
Then that is too bad. General Homa sent Colonel Nakayama to Corregidor with orders to bring General Wainwright here if only General Wainwright will surrender all his troops.
General Wainwright has offered to surrender all troops under his command.
His motive is clear. He has relinquished command of certain troops on Mindanao and the Visayan Island in order not to surrender them. His ruse is very transparent. It will not work. General Wainwright will surrender all forces at order, or General Homa will continue the offensive.
Has General Homa issued any orders regarding a ceasefire?
Why should he? He has accepted nothing.
I believe General Homa and his staff have arrived. We return you to Corregidor and Todd Hunter. Night has come to Corregidor, a vast tropical night with just a small let-up in the action here. No word from General Wainwright or what's happening on Bataan. At about 4 o'clock this afternoon, General Drake sent his assistant to the Japanese lines. 10 minutes later, Colonel Kawakuka returned with a Japanese officer who demanded that the entire tunnel be cleared in 10 minutes. General Drake was able to persuade the officer of the impossibility of such a task. It was agreed that the men were to remain in the tunnel. We are now waiting for the return of the Japanese officer. General Drake has ordered the men to remain against the sides of the tunnel or in the laterals. What will happen when the Japanese return, we do not know. As far as we know, there has been no formal surrender or acceptance of surrender. I repeat, as far as we know, there has been no formal surrender or acceptance of surrender.
We've done the best we can. I know that none of you feel very good about this. And if we could go on, we'd go right on. We had a chance, but we haven't. We've already held out longer than anybody expected. We've messed up their plan to sew up the whole Pacific. So all this work hasn't been for nothing. We've done our job. Not only that, but we probably saved Australia, maybe shortened this war by months, maybe even years, who knows. So, one thing I want you to know, all of you, and that is that you can hold your heads up to anybody, including them. What happens next, Lieutenant? Well, that's up to the jet major, so you fellas just relax for a while now.
These are the men who have held Corregidor. These are the men who have fought the enemy for almost 5 months. These are the men who have been finally beaten by sheer weight of numbers. Their battle is ended. What lies before them, no one knows. What's behind them, all the world will know.
Hey, just the way they come in here to take us prisoners.
You know, those chaps are sure firing for keeping a guy waiting to see what happens.
Hold it up. Jimmy, what you want me
received word that General Wainwright has returned from Bataan. Our headquarters reporter is waiting to report the developments of the surrender. Take it away, Bill Stout.
This is Bill Stout at Barrio San Jose. General Wainwright and his staff returned from Bataan a few moments ago, where General Homer refused to accept Wainwright's surrender. Homer insisted that Wainwright surrender all the forces in the Philippines. Until Wainwright does so, the offensive will continue. General Wainwright has been informed that the Japanese are now in full charge of the area between the west entrance to the tunnel and Morrison Hill farther west. They're blocking both ends of the tunnel, the last possible hideout.
I've just related General Homer's intelligence to Colonel Sato. He understands what you are expected to do. The Imperial Japanese Army and Navy are only prepared to accept surrender of all troops under your command. We know these include Mindanao and the Visayans. You shall order them to disarm immediately and voluntarily. Do you understand those terms clearly? And there be no discussion of terms. The surrender will be unconditional.
The surrender document provides that General Wainwright will reassume command of the forces which he relinquished to General Sharp a few hours ago. In turn, he will order those forces to surrender along with the forces on Corregidor. General Wainwright's choice is desperate. If he does not include the other forces, there will be no surrender accepted, and the 11,000 helpless men on Corregidor face a continued Japanese offensive and eventual massacre.
Well?
Corregidor is over. The battle that Imperial headquarters in Tokyo estimated would end by the middle of February. Shortly after midnight on May 6th, the Japanese offensive ended on Corregidor. Signing the unconditional surrender was a bitter and helpless moment for General Wainwright. Perhaps the words and a message from his commander-in-chief were some consolation. In spite of all the handicaps of complete isolation, lack of food and ammunition, you have given the world a shining example of patriotic fortitude and self-sacrifice. Perhaps those same words came often to him and his men in the humiliating and debasing years of Japanese imprisonment that followed. But General Wainwright survived that imprisonment, lived to stand on the deck of the Missouri with General MacArthur, and accept the surrender of the Japanese nation. The Japanese won an important victory with the surrender of Corregidor. But the American and Filipino troops who gave their lives and their freedom did not do so in vain. Only after the Japanese committed more planes and men than they had ever intended to bring into the battle was the campaign brought to an end. During all these months, the tenacious American and Filipino troops denied them the use of Manila Bay. This was their mission, and it was accomplished. More than that, it stopped the rising tide of Japanese victory in those first few months of the war. It proved that the Japanese were not invincible, that they could be stopped by determined men ably led. To the Allied world, Corregidor was a symbol of hope and a beacon of success for the future. May 6, 1942. What sort of day was it? A day like all days, filled with those events that alter and illuminate our time. And you were there.